Yeah, once again, welcome all of you. Today, I'm very happy to inform our Project 18 discussion we are going to have. This Project 18, right? It's going to be very short, very informative for all the people who are looking for interview, who are looking for job and career change in AWS and DevOps. Unavoidable questions will be asked in every AWS DevOps interview to talk about your Jenkins or any pipeline which includes your continuous integration and continuous deployment. There are many people has question in your mind about what I need to answer when I get a question from CI/CD. Today, all the questions will be sorted out. You will have a clear idea and clear picture how to handle. Is there any question comes from the interview with respect to CI/CD pipelines? That crystal clear answer you are gonna get by end of the session. Today's session hardly gonna take 20 to 30 minutes, not more than that. Okay. So all of you know, my name Hari. We are from High Tech Institution. Every weekend, right? We used to conduct this weekend free session. People who are attending from YouTube, right? In this video description, you are seeing the WhatsApp group link. Click on it. You'll be part of our WhatsApp group. Okay. So you can also attend live. If you have any question related to this project 18, you can anytime feel free to stop me, ask your doubt, get your questions are clarified. If you have any generic doubt with respect to your career, or if you have any generic doubt with respect to your personal things, we have a parking lot end of the session. I'll be here. So once the session is over, you can get your doubts are clarified. Okay. Fine, guys. With that note, we can get it started. I'll give the introduction about the project 18.
Welcome and warm welcome to High Tech Institution.
So as I mentioned the topic here, AWS DevOps Architecture. Okay. So Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. Yes. CI/CD pipeline is one of the important component of every DevOps project. You cannot ignore the CI/CD pipeline because that connects the developer and the operations team. Development plus operation considers a DevOps that connects the development team's entire effort to bring it to your application output. So in that, right, today we're going to see the example of Kubernetes and Terraform. Along with the CI/CD, how can we integrate how my applications are developed in the developer environment, how it is deployed through automated way. That is what we're going to see. Okay. This architecture, right, typically used to end-to-end automated application deployment in microservice environment. Okay. We are going to have an application. How can we automate end-to-end, starting from the developer laptop to my hosting server in AWS? Throughout, what all the stages are coming, which all the stages, what are the important, how can we enable this feature? End-to-end clear information, I'm going to give it to you all today. Okay. So we're going to talk about what is continuous integration and continuous deployment, and we're going to talk about scale and highly available apps on Kubernetes. So there are many people who will be accessing my application. How can we have a ready scalable setup in place in AWS? Secure and efficient service routing. Okay, not only the routing perspective, how can we have a secure code developer when develops, right? Where are we going to scan the code? How can we ensure the security throughout this architecture? Infrastructure automation using Terraform. Yes, the resource provisioning, resource creation, everything we are not going to do it manually. Everything we are going to do it through Terraform. Storage using AWS EFS for persistent data. So probably in our, all the project first time, we're going to talk about AWS EFS, I believe. I don't know how many of you knows about the EFS. Elastic File Share. It's kind of a network, file storage offered by AWS. We can leverage that AWS EFS service. That will be highly helpful when come to a Kubernetes kind of architecture. Okay. So with that all theory, right? I don't want you guys to make it overload and getting boring with the theory. I'll take you all to the architecture diagram. Okay. Look at that architecture diagram. If you are clear in this architecture diagram, right? Any interview, if you go, very easy for us to answer when there is a question comes from CI/CD. And another thing, keep in mind, if you are attending any AWS DevOps interview or Azure DevOps interview, any DevOps interview, without a CI/CD question, the interview will not complete. Okay, this is the open question for you. Only thing, how you understood the process of CI/CD, how you are representing and explaining during the interview, that is really matters. This is the already open question, mandatory question in every interview. Okay. There's some background noise. Let me mute the people all. If you're not talking, don't make background noise, so others will not get disturbed. Okay, this CI/CD architecture, right? Starting from the scratch, starting from very, very scratch, actually. You can see the starting place is over here. Okay. This is the developer local laptop. He'll be using a Microsoft Visual Studio Code editor. Okay. Using that editor, right? Once he's done with the code, he'll give the command like git to push. As soon as he gives the git to push, right, it will go to the repository. Okay. Once it reaches the repository, right, we have AWS account over here. What you are seeing in the pink color line, right, pink color box. This is AWS account. Inside the AWS account, you will have a two major component, I would say. One component is Jenkins server. You can see the black color box. Okay. The black color box, whatever you are seeing here, that component fall under Jenkins. Another one box you are seeing, that is orange color. Okay. Orange color box is something called here, EKS cluster actually. Okay. Kubernetes. EKS stands for Elastic Kubernetes Service. This orange color box is Kubernetes cluster. Inside the cluster, right, you have a node and various component. Here, you are not only using a Kubernetes cluster, also you are using the application load balancer. Okay. To point your DNS and records, right, we have a Route 53. Correct. So let me clean the annotate. Okay, himself cleaned, it seems. We are all drawing. So I think let me stop the annotation, otherwise these people will write. Play. Annotate or right. I don't know where to turn off that option. Not coming for me. Okay, don't annotate anything in the screen, guys. Okay, I'll point it out. I'm not getting option to stop annotating. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is the portion of our CI/CD. Okay. So this is a developer local laptop. The first layer, whoever application developer, right, his local laptop. Second layer is AWS account, the pink color line, right, AWS account. If you go inside the pink color line, you have a Jenkins that has one box. Okay, these are the process of CI/CD. And orange color boxes here, EKS cluster. Inside you have a Kubernetes cluster. And you have additional AWS component. 3 components are available. One is application load balancer, Route 53, and EFS. I'll explain about each process. Okay. When you go for interview, just replicate the same setup to them. No need to change anything. Okay. So when you have a developer, they'll be using a Visual Studio Code editor. Okay, like this. When you have a developer, they'll be using a Visual Studio Code editor. So you can have a code like that. Okay, you can have a code like that. What these people will do, right? They'll add the extension. Okay, they'll add the extension. They'll have a comments over here. Once they're done with the code, right? They'll simply type like git push in the Visual Studio Code editor. The developer, once he's completed, right, he'll give git to push from the Visual Studio Code editor. So what it will do, it will go to the GitHub repo actually. What it will do, it will go to the GitHub repo. So this is our GitHub repository. Okay. Imagine you have a Jenkins pipeline directory available. So there will be multiple branches will be there. Okay. If you want, you can create a new branch. So most probably, right, they will not commit directly into the main branch. They'll have a feature branch for them. How can we create a feature branch? In GitHub, right, you can create your own branch, whatever, right? You can search, and if you type something called Hari Ram. Hari Ram bug or something. Okay. When I click on create branch, right, it will create a new branch for me. Okay. Now I'll have a 2 branches. Main is my default branch. This is the branch which I have it. Okay. So what I can do, whatever the changes I have done, right, probably I'll go for example, if I made any changes over here in this code, one of the Terraform code. Okay. So I'll commit it. Okay, commit directly on Hariram bug branch. Okay. Okay. Now what people will do, right? They'll create a pull request. Okay, compare and create a pull request. This is something called as a PR. Okay. What I'm telling, this process, right, will be happen at this stage. When the git push happen, right, they'll have their own branch. From this branch, right, once the changes is hit to the GitHub repo, there are two things are there. Okay. Generally, in the pipeline, we'll have a trigger section. The trigger section, two types. Some of the pipelines, right, will have a trigger when they pull request merge to master actually. When this pull request merge to master, okay, I'll create a pull request like that. Okay, this is the PR, by the way. If someone's right goes and approves it, okay, in the real project, right, we'll have a approval. This is the change we did, right? It's showing it clearly. See, this is the change earlier at gmail.com. Now these are all the changes. They'll review it. Somebody will be approving it. Okay, once they approve it, so probably here we'll have option to merge pull request actually. Here we'll have option to merge pull request. Once we are confirming the change, right, from my branch to of my main branch, it gets merged. Main branch, it gets merged actually. Okay. If we go and check the code, in the main branch itself, if you go to variable, you should be able to see it gets merged over here. So people will have a two type of category. If they have a feature branch, either they have to mention this branch or main branch they have to mention. So based on this, right, the webhook will be get triggered. When they are giving git push, two times we can trigger the pipeline. Two types we can trigger the pipeline. First type is when the git pushes happened to your feature branch, developer's feature branch, Hari bug branch we created, right? If that time is there any trigger as set means your pipeline will be get triggered. Otherwise, second type is when the commit has happened. We have merged the pull request, right? When the commit has happened to main branch, when the commit has happened to main branch, that time this will get triggered. Okay, I'll remove the tell person. One second, guys. I'll remove him. The remove. Okay, he won't be able to attack that anymore. So these are all unwanted things for us to clean all the time. Anyway, guys, if you not interested or don't like the session, you can feel free to remove or leave yourself. Okay, don't disturb us. First of all, don't work on the annotate. I'm not seeing the option to stop annotating option. This is unnecessarily, right, extending the time of our session. Otherwise, we can complete it in sharp 30 minutes. Let me check one more time where to stop the annotate option. Recorded, no participants. I'm not sure. Earlier, I'll be getting it. Now, what happened, right? I got updated my Zoom. The new Zoom not giving me option to stop annotate. Not sure. Anyway. All good. So what happened? This main branch, when we are creating pull request, when the developer gets pull request, there will be a senior person in the project who will be reviewing the pull request. He'll merge it. Okay. As soon as he merge, it joins that into the main branch. Okay. The second trigger is when the pull request gets merged, when the main branch data is updated, right? That time it will trigger the Jenkins pipeline. Okay. Two type of trigger. One is we can set the feature branch in the trigger portion. If someone give the git to push, that time itself your pipeline triggered. Or when the PR pull request gets merged to your master, right? That time we will trigger the Jenkins pipeline. Okay. Mostly, if you ask me which one is used widely in the project is type 2. When the PR is merged, that time only pipeline will be started. Okay. Type 2. Keep in mind, most probably if you go to 90% of project, people will create the PR. When the PR is merged to master or main branch, at the time only it will get triggered. Okay. Fine. Now, when the pipeline is triggering, right, it uses, there is something called webhook actually. Okay. How GitHub is notifying to Jenkins pipeline to trigger the pipeline? Basically, GitHub will be using a component called webhook. The webhook is something when there is a Git push happened or your PR is merged to your main branch, whatever things. Webhook is the component will notify to your Jenkins server. If you go there, is this your repository? Go to settings. Here you have an option called webhook. The left side there is an option called webhook. Here you need to add your webhook. When you click on add your webhook, Jenkins will give you one data. In Jenkins you will have one pipeline, right? That will give you one server path. Okay. You need to click on add that webhook. Okay. Webhook allow external service to be notified when certain events happen. Webhook allow external services like Jenkins or other pipeline. When a specified event happens, we will send a post request to each URL you provided. Okay. So in that only we need to be concerned. We have to be mentioned in our GitHub. Is there any commit happened to merge branch, main branch? It has to notify to my Jenkins. Okay. Through this webhook only we need to add this URL, right? If you click on add a webhook, your Jenkins server will give you the URL. It will be get notified to the Jenkins. The first portion is clear. Anyone has any doubt? Feel free to unmute and ask your doubt. It's all clear. Then we can go to the Jenkins pipeline.
Sorry,
Yep.
one doubt. Why can't we use actions where you have shown that, right? Like the webhooks, just before that, above that, in that GitHub
GitHub actions you are talking
repository.
about?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there are many pipeline tools are there. Just in it's up to you. You can use Jenkins or GitHub actions workflow, or you can use GitLab, or you can use Azure DevOps pipeline, or AWS itself. We have a code pipeline and all. It's up to you. Jenkins is the open source one. So this use case is about Jenkins.
Okay.
It depends on you only. Any pipeline tool we can use. Depends upon
Okay.
our project. Yeah.
Yeah. So this GitHub, it's there only, right? The actions are it's part of it, right? So do we need to install anything specifically, or you can just use it as it is?
Nothing. Here if go means you will get the action. You can create your pipeline actually.
Directly, like okay.
So what will happen here? It will create one folder like dot workflow. Inside that, all your pipeline files, everything will be get stored. Okay, there's a
And
new feature.
feature-wise,
New
any
feature
difference?
given by GitHub. But not much people aware that we have in GitHub itself we can create a pipeline, right? Not many people aware of this. But Jenkins,
But
right,
how you
widely aware by many people.
yeah, how you evaluate this Jenkins with actions? Which one has a better feature, or from the industry wise? I know that like Jenkins was there from long time, but otherwise from the use case or feature wise, which one is better? If you want to
Feature
learn
wise,
something new.
add-on wise, plugin wise, if you ask me, Jenkins is the better one, I would say, because
Okay.
there are huge community for Jenkins. Many people know when you take a pipeline, first word will come for the Jenkins because it's open source.
Okay.
You don't need to pay any money for GitHub actions and all. You need to buy a license. I don't know how many organizations ready to buy a license. If you take startups, it will be difficult for them to buy a license, and you need to pay money for GitHub actions. So if the 100 projects are there in the world, okay, 70% of people will be using Jenkins pipeline only, since it's open source.
Okay, understood. Yeah.
The people who are able to afford the money, they will go with GitHub Action or Azure DevOps pipeline, or Argo or Circle CI, kind of paid CI/CD tool.
Okay, understood. Yeah. Thanks, Eddie.
Yep, good. Very good question. All right, guys. If you are good with the first portion, feel free to ask your doubt. Okay. So then we can jump to the second portion. Once the pipeline is triggered, right, I have shown there is a webhook. Here in the Jenkins, right, what all things happening? First, installing the dependencies. So to run your code or to execute any of the packages, something, right? We'll have some dependencies will be there, any tool or any package. So for example, if you are installing Python, right, pip has to be updated. If you are running it any Node.js related application, npm package has to be updated. So like that, some installation of some dependency tools has to be there. That we will cover it in the first stage itself. Okay. Second stage, we will use Sonar Cube. Okay. Not many people heard about this term. Some people heard about this term, but not sure what is the use of Sonar Cube. Sonar Cube is the code and quality gate analysis. I mean, it will check the quality of your code. It will check any security breach in your code. Any password is openly passed. Developer mistakenly ready pass the password. Developer hard coded anything in the script. Developer, whatever the code he developed, right? Is there any security loophole? Is there security breach possibilities are there? All the code and the quality check will be done over here. So every developer will have a source code and there will be a unit test case will be there. Unit test case is to check the application logics of your code. Even that will be validated in the Sonar Cube. Okay, Sonar Cube is the gateway to check your code, your quality and security things of your code. Once everything passed in this Sonar Cube, only then it will move to the next step. Okay. Here, what your deployment gets started. Okay. This is CI. This portion is CD. Okay. So installing dependency, check unit, running the unit test case, clone your source code, scanning your code, and security analysis of your code. All those things, right? Continuous integration. If your CI passes, only then it will goes to the CD. For continuous deployment, right, we use Terraform here. It's up to you. Either you can use cloud formation, you can use, okay. Terraform I have taken is one of the interesting tool. So from this Terraform, right, what we will do with that, whatever the application person has developed it and pushed the code, right, we will create the infrastructure. First thing, the Terraform will ensure to create the EKS cluster, TFS, ALB, Route 53, all those things, right? We'll deploy it through Terraform point one. Also, we'll have once the infrastructure is provisioned, then we will create a image, Docker image. Okay. Whatever the changes he made it in the GitHub repository, right? He'll create the Docker image. That image is deployed in the ECR. Okay. ECR is one of the AWS service, Elastic Container Registry. Okay. Hope you guys are heard about Docker Hub. Similarly, AWS provides ECR. So whatever the changes he made, right, that changes, so along with the source code, will be created as an image. That image will be stored in the ECR. Using this image only, we'll pass that to Kubernetes. The Kubernetes deployment will begin. Okay. Before going to the Kubernetes deployment, anyone has any doubt on the CI/CD process? We are once the work web is triggered, we are installing the dependency. Required things are getting cloned. All the prerequisites are done over here. Then your unit test case, quality of your code, and the security analysis, everything will be done in the Sonar Cube tool. This is the one of the the third-party tool. These two things will ensure your CI is completed properly. Is there any issue with your quality of your code? Is there any issue with your unit test case? Whatever, your pipeline will fail over here in this place itself. Okay. If CI is over, then it will hand it over to the CD. Continuous deployment part, we are using a Terraform as a tool. Terraform also infrastructure as a tool, third-party tool. This will ensure to create the ECR, EKS cluster, ALB, Route 53, EFS, all the AWS related component. It will help us to create. When the infrastructure is provisioned, right, whatever the code he made the changes in the GitHub repo, that code, right, it will create as a Docker image. That Docker image is stored in the ECR, Elastic Container Registry. This image only will be used in the Kubernetes for the deployment purpose. Okay, that we are going to see it in another 2 minutes. So this is the responsibility of Jenkins, guys. This only will be doing in the next stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. Totally 5 stages are involved in the Jenkins pipeline, CI/CD pipeline. Anyone has any doubt on this black box?
Hari, I have a question here.
Yep.
So you said that this 5 steps. So
Yep.
for example, this ECR, we have some plugin for that, or like it need to install on the Git?
Very good. Yes, we need to install a plugin. We have a plugins. Otherwise, if you have a good knowledge on shell script, right? We can done it through shell script or AWS CLI. Using AWS CLI, right? We would able to do it. Either way, we can do it.
Okay.
If you have a sound knowledge on AWS CLI, we can do it through that. Or plugin also is there. Directly you can add the Jenkins plugin. We can do the changes. Either way, it's fine. End of day, right? We need to create on Docker file. Docker file there will be there in the GitHub. Using that, we are going to build an image. The image will be get pushed to ECR repo. That's it.
Right.
That is the goal. That is the goal. Either we can do it manually or we can do it through plugin. Either way, it's fine.
Fine.
Goal has to be met. Good question.
Thank you.
Can you tell me where we will install dependencies and all exactly? Is it
Jenkins
a
server. So this is for one of your easy to instance only. The Jenkins server. Okay, that's what I mentioned here. It is one of the easy to instance. It should be Linux based only. 99.99%. Jenkins supports, Windows server also you can install Jenkins, but mostly in production, right? We are talking more about open source. All these processes are backend happening in one of the Linux server only. Let's consider the Ubuntu server. For Ubuntu server, you wanted to analyze one code. I wanted to check one test case of one package. I'll be running, example, if you take Python code, I need to install the Python pip everything in the Jenkins server. Okay, those kind of dependencies, I will install it first. After that, I'll run the command. Example, I wanted to run the Terraform related commands. I have to install Terraform in the Jenkins server. Only then if I give Terraform apply, right, Jenkins server has to understand the command. If need to understand means the dependency has to be installed locally in the Jenkins server. Whatever we are utilizing in the space, already the dependency will be there. If any new things or anything missing or any updates has to be there, it will verify once. Okay, that this stage will take that opportunity to install the required dependencies in the Jenkins server, Ubuntu server.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Hari, I have one more question. So, if someone asked me about the architecture my application, so in this, this black box you said, I can draw this architecture with my project description, right?
Exactly. Slightly you change the tool what you are using. Maybe instead of Terraform you might use CloudFormation template. Instead of ECR you might use Docker Hub. Okay, so slightly where instead of SonarQube you might use different tool. You can take the same architecture, slightly change according to your need. Yes, that's it. Your arc diagram is ready.
Okay, fine. Hari, thank you.
All right. Fine, guys. So we are running out of time. I'll complete the last part. So I'm moving to this orange box. Okay. So it's not about danger. It's important. So orange box, right, it talks about your EKS cluster. Okay. So that's what, see, I gave the Kubernetes logo. So once the images comes, right, we are going to deploy it. I simply gave the Kubernetes as a one logo. When you go backend deep dive, right, we'll have a nodes will be there. Kubernetes is form of a cluster actually, right? More than one nodes will be there. So EKS in AWS. So you can see here one deployment is there, deployment is there, deployment is there. This is literally a three-tier architecture kind of. Okay, here front end application will be there in this deployment. This front end only will create a service. You can see this service will be created the ingress. Okay, with that ingress, application load balancer will be there. So anybody hit the application load balancer, ALB will be giving you the URL. ALB will be giving you the URL. When people are hitting the ALB, they can see this front end application only. Back end, you will have some logics. This logic will be integrated with the database services. This is a DB deployment actually. Okay. In DB, mostly you will deal with the data. All your data will be stored in the DB. For storing your data only, we created the EFS, Elastic File Share. The advantage of going with the EFS, right? Why, Hari, we can't use EBS volume? Yeah, we can use EBS. But the advantage of having EFS is, I've talked about the Kubernetes. I told you as a cluster, when you take cluster, right, more than one server will be there. Okay, when you want to attach the same volume to multiple server in AWS, right, EFS is recommended. When you want to deploy same volume into multiple servers, EFS is recommended. That's what I'm telling. When you map EFS, right, in this Kubernetes cluster, imagine if 3 nodes is there, 4 nodes is there, 5 nodes is there, no matter at all. We can map the same EFS volume to all 5 nodes actually. Okay. So this is the front-facing deployment. This is a backend deployment. This is a database deployment. This is a pure proper three-tier architecture. So your front-end application will be front-facing. Okay. When you load Flipkart.com, you are facing the page, right? That is the front-end landing page. We'll create a service using ingress we exposed. ALB is the point of contact. So using ALB load balancer URL only will access. Here in Route 53, right, I will create a DNS zone. We'll point with the domain name actually. If you have a domain in GoDaddy, if you have a domain in the any other domain provider, here we'll create the record. So with the point to the ALB. In the ALB, right, we have option to map your SSL certificate. Okay, when users are hitting, right, the request will first come to Route 53. Here, okay, www.haricacd.com. In the Route 53, we'll have a domain name pointed to the ALB URL. It will go to the ALB URL. It will go to this ingress. It will go to the servers service. It will go to this application. This is the front end application. Okay. So people will be loading the front end application. If the changes anything they made, right, it will call the backend API service. It will store it in the database. This is what happening, guys. This is what happening. So ALB is for exposing your application. Okay. Route 53 is for mapping your domain name. EFS is for mapping storage to your Kubernetes cluster. Anybody has any doubt about this, how the ALB work, how the Route 53 work? Already we have a project that has covered with a practical explanation. I'll give you one reference link. If you go to the high-tech institution, YouTube channel, there will be a playlist. Here I have a AWS DevOps project playlist. If you go there, get it started. One of the project, right? Maybe here I'll check. Deploying AWS IAM. I think this one only. Route 53 monitoring. I think this one. And pointing our SSL certificate also I explained already. For now, maybe you guys can refer to. Okay. I think project 8. That will gonna give you the explanation of like that.
Machine learning engineering is a popular.
I'll give you the detailed view of how load balancer being mapped, all those things. You can see here we have a practical explanation has been given. Okay. So yes, we'll go back here. Yeah, EFS for cluster, and this is our Kubernetes cluster. This is a front end. This is a API backend service and DB. ALB will be exposed. Route 53 zone is get created. User will be hit your application. Request will come over here. They'll access the site. Future, any developer did any changes, right? Same cycle has been followed. Okay. This deployment get updated with the new image. Okay. This is how we'll implement the continuous integration and continuous deployment. If you go for any interview, if people are asking about your flow, hey, can you please explain your CI/CD flow? Yeah, start from the developer. Yeah, this is the answer for you. I'll quickly cover it in 1 minute now. Hey, can you please explain your CI/CD current architecture, how you are deploying your application? Can you tell the end-to-end flow? Yeah, definitely. I'll answer it. So when the developer commits the code, right, he'll use the code editor, VS Code editor or any other code editor. He'll be committing the code. He'll create a git push command. Once the git push command comes, right, it'll be get added into the GitHub. 2 ways are there. Either pipeline will be triggered from this feature branch itself, or sometime majority of time he'll create the PR pull request. There will be some senior person in the project who will be reviewing the changes. He'll approve the PR. Once he approved the PR, it will get merged to my main branch. Once it gets merged to main branch, right, using GitHub webhook, right, my Jenkins server is get triggered. In our project, we are using Jenkins server for CI/CD process. So once the Jenkins server get notified by the webhook about the trigger, about the changes, We have a 5 stages of Jenkins pipeline in our project. First stage will be installing the dependency. Is there any tool that need to be installed? Is there any packages has to be added in the Jenkins server, which is related to our pipeline? That will be addressed in the very first stage. Next stage, right? We'll clone the code. We will do the unit test case part. Every logic has been addressed properly. Then code analysis we'll do. Anything related to the security. Any developer, did any hard-coded thing, or developer passed the security credential in the code. All the code analysis we'll do. For code analysis purpose, right? We have a Sonar Cube in our project. With that, right? If both things are completed, my CI part is success. It will pass to my continuous deployment. Is there any issue with the Sonar or quality check or code test cases, whatever? My pipeline will fail in the Sonar Cube stage itself. Let's imagine my Sonar Cube stage code and the quality gate as analysis has completed successfully. It will go to the Terraform. Terraform will be using for deploying the resources. We are deployed the Kubernetes cluster, EFS volume, and application load balancer, Route 53. All those things we deployed through Terraform. Once resource deployment is completed, right? Whatever the changes we made, that is converted as the Docker image. That Docker image is added to ECR service in AWS itself. Using that image only, Kubernetes will start its deployment. We have a Kubernetes cluster. We have a 4-node Kubernetes cluster available in our project. This Jenkins server, right, will start to deploy the Kubernetes with the help of the latest image, what build in the ECR. So in a Kubernetes cluster, right, we have a 3-layer. First deployment is front end. Second is back end, which has API logics. Third one is for DB, database services. My EFS is mapped to database service and deployment. My front end, right, I'll create a service. This service will be created with the ingress. I'll create a load balancer, application load balancer in AWS to expose my application. The application load balancer got created. People will be hitting my application, right? We have a domain name purchased in GoDaddy. That domain name, right? In AWS Route 53, I created the record and pointed the CNAME record to my ALB. Okay, whenever any user hit my application, the request will come to AWS Route 53, it will point to my ALB. That's how people are accessing my application. This is my complete CI/CD flow with the Kubernetes and Terraform implementation. All of you got it, guys?
Yes, Hari. Hari, I have one question.
Yeah.
As you explained the project 18 today, so I want to do the implementation. So do you have any application which the workflow we can follow and we can deploy the application using AWS?
Yes. What do you do? Simply take the screenshot of this image, upload that image in the ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT to give one simple application. Okay, here is the developer running the code in the VS Code. Can you give very simple basic application for me to do this deployment and test? He'll give you the application source code automatically. Even I'm not a developer. What generally I'll take, right, for testing POC and all, I'll take the source code like that only. As you know, I'm a AWS DevOps engineer, Azure DevOps engineer. So I'm not much expertise in the coding part, but every time I used AI, ChatGPT for giving me the source code. Just to take the screenshot of it, save as an image, upload in ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give the source code, it will give you.
Sure, we'll do that. And I have also another question, like in the interview, they give the scenario like that, right?
Yes, they'll give scenario. Can you be more specific about any one scenario? We'll talk.
In the same scenario, if I also want to understand, because I not deep dive any interview actually yet.
Okay.
So just wanted to understand if they give a hands-on, so which way they can ask the question. So same way they give the same way they give the diagram and scenario like that, and we have to perform. Is it?
No. Actually, in the interview, what kind of question you will receive is very first question. They want you to themselves to understand whether you have a knowledge on CI/CD or not. To confirm whether you have a knowledge on CI/CD, they will ask you to, very first question will be, they'll ask you to explain your current CI/CD flow, end-to-end flow. If you presented this well, right, then only they'll go into deeper questions on CI/CD. What are the deeper questions? In this architecture itself, example, you are explaining this architecture to them, they will ask more question about your Kubernetes. Hey, can you please talk about your Kubernetes? what will happen? Your front end nodes are front end deployment is down. How you will troubleshoot in this case? They will ask you. The front end deployment is down, right? What we will do? We will come. We will check the what is the latest image it is used. When we are building the image, right? Is there any issue with the new image? We can manually go to the deployment. We can check the log why this deployment is failing. Once we confirm the issue with the new image, probably we can relaunch the deployment with the old image so that your application will start. Okay, that is one question. They will ask when your CI pipeline will fail, what could be the reason or any recent issue you faced across. They'll give you the cross question. So when they are asking, yeah, we'll have a unit test case part. Whenever developer updated the source code, he forgot to update the unit test case part. So that's why CI pipeline got failed. So often we'll get this requirement. We'll encourage developer to create one more pull request and update the code properly. So next pipeline trigger, right, it will be get updated. Okay. So this kind of question you will get. You may get another question. What will happen? Your Jenkins server is overloaded. It's not able to continue with your pipeline. Yeah, we faced that issue. What after that we did? We created one more slave server. We configured the Jenkins master and slave server. That way, future we are avoid such issues like that he can provide. So these kind of cross question they'll ask from the pipeline what you do. Directly they won't go for the scenario. Directly they won't give you any cross question. First they need to know whether Mohammed, your name, right? Whether Mohammed has knowledge on CI/CD or not. If they confirmed you have explained the proper flow, then they may start ask about what is the recent issue you faced, what you will do if this goes down, what you will do it goes this way. They'll start asking you the cross questions. Okay.
Understood. Understood. Thank you. Thank you, Hari.
Yeah, very good. Good question.
Hari, I have a question. We have environments also, right? Development or staging or production. How to handle that? And also, there are in Kubernetes, we generally call it as microservices, right? So how to handle that? How to handle that in the interview or in the project?
Yeah, very good question. Basically, yes, this deployment, right? I have talked about one specific environment. I agree. So basically, right, you will have a multiple environments. First one will be the dev, second one will be stage, third one will be the prod. So prod is the most critical environment we discussed. So in Jenkins, pipeline itself, CI will be common. Okay. Then come to CD, continuous deployment. I told you, right, you'll have a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, 4, 5. 5 stages are there. So these 5 stages, right, will be increasing. Okay. First will be deployment. First we will be deploying it in the dev. We need to write a stage accordingly. Deploying dev. Second stage will be deploying stage. The last one will be deploying prod. Like that, the Terraform will be creating resources in these 3 environments. Okay. Only thing we need to make sure whatever the role you used in the Jenkins server, right? You'll be attaching on IAM role. Okay. That role has a sufficient permission to your dev AWS account, stage AWS account, and the prod AWS account. The STS permission, you need to enable it. STS permission, you need to enable it. Okay. So that way, just you need to add the few more stages. The Terraform, when it is deployed, right? First, we need to write a Jenkins pipeline to deploy the code in the dev. Then slowly it has to deploy it in the stage. Then finally it has to deploy in the prod.
Okay.
And I forgot to ask one more question. Can you repeat? Sorry.
And also we have front end, right? Front end and also Nginx server, Tomcat server, or React.js, right? So what is the difference between Nginx and using React.js or some front end server Node.js, React.js? So they will be generally called as front end server, right? So what exactly these front end servers are? Is that a web servers or a development? Or backend servers.
Yeah. So basically, right now the application development has been, any application if you take, you might see in UI UX front end designers are one first layer of people when you access any application, right? So all the designs and the things, Flipkart. If you access the Flipkart website, all the designs, UI, UX, user interface, everything you're seeing, right? These square boxes, these images, everything will be done by the UI, UX engineer and front-end developers. They might use, right, React JS, Angular, JavaScript, Node, all those things for, this particular front-end, implementation. The backend, right? This is what in the front-end server, this is what will be there. Okay. Backend, there will be a logics. Logics means what exactly? If you click on this airbed, it is taking you to this page. Okay, these many things are there. Okay. So the filtering part, if you go there, how many stocks are there, whether it is available out of stock, that logic has to be fetched, right? Amount has to be fetched from the database. So these all things, right, comes in the backend API. Okay.
Okay.
So for that, they'll have a layer. Earlier, everything all together in the one page, but they have made it as two things because to make the performances better. Okay, along with the logic, instead of loading everything along with the logic and all, they'll simply load the landing page. So the customers are attracted to my website very quickly. Later, based on the interest, right, we'll have one more layer, that is something called backend service, where the API, all the processing and integration logics, everything will be there. It will fetch from the DB. Okay. So here now they use something Python or Java, any of the code for the enabling the logic, building the logic. Backend DB, MySQL, PostgreSQL, or any DB will be get used. So only just to make sure your landing page performance is much faster. No major logic over there, only design, and as soon as possible it has to load the website. And the page has to be very much attractive and user friendly. That has been ensured in the layer 1. Since everything is ensured in the layer 1, I mean front end, that is exposed to the users.
Okay, where is this Nginx come into picture? Nginx
Nginx
server.
is just a service actually. Okay, to expose any application, right? If you are exposing through Windows, you need to install IIS, Internet Information Service. So if you wanted to expose your application from the Linux environment, you need a Nginx. So you are creating Docker image, right? You will use the Nginx image. That image will have a Nginx preloaded. You are exposing your application using the Nginx service only. You can use Nginx, you can use Apache HTTP, you can use Tomcat. Based upon your application, you can take. While creating your Docker image, right, there itself your web engine has confirmed and deployed.
Okay, no need
Based
to
on the
deploy a
image only,
separate
it's
service.
deploying this container itself, pod itself deploying. In this layer, it is finalized. Nginx or Tomcat or HTTP, Apache or IIS, whatever, in this layer, it is confirmed.
Okay, front end and engineering services both are integrated in one server. I can assume like that, right?
Sorry, come again?
Front end like React JS and
Yeah.
engineering service
Correct.
in one server.
Yeah. Not one server, one image. This here considered as a pod actually. Okay. In Kubernetes, it's pod, right? It's not a server. In this pod, right? Already your application source code is available. Nginx also pre-installed. You can consider like that. Okay.
Okay.
Simply, if you go there, database means MySQL installed in this pod. Okay. Here, Nginx is installed in this pod. Here, Python or Java installed in this pod. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay. All are
Thank
image
you.
using the image only. This deployment is made. Using that image only. This deployment is made. Using this image only. This deployment made. But for this deployment, we may require a MySQL based image. For this deployment, we may require Python or Java based image. For this deployment, we may require a Nginx based image. As you are very much interested in Nginx, I'm taking that as an example. The Nginx image, your source code is preloaded. That package bundle ready-made setup is ready over here. With that only, we are creating this pod itself.
Okay.
If you open this pod, if you go inside, you can see the Nginx package is pre-installed. The code, what you changed, right? That is pre-installed. For the front-end related, you can see these things when you open this pod and you can see inside.
Okay. Nginx plus React JS. If I want to take an example, right?
Yeah, Nginx is the package. React JS and all is the coding language actually. Okay.
Okay.
So React
That
JS
is placed in the front end.
Yeah, it's ending with the JS, right? End of the JavaScript enhancement only. React JS, Node JS, Angular JS, all are you have a language front end scripting language. all are front-end designing language. You start from we might know about HTML, CSS and all. In our college days, we might seen about HTML, CSS. You remember?
Yeah.
Enhanced version of HTML. See, for with the HTML and all, CSS and all, you cannot do bigger application. Front-end, you can design it. Same thing only. Next layer is JavaScript. JavaScript is enhanced today as different things. Node.js, AngularJS, React.js. So like that. Okay. But those are a scripting language. Nginx is the tool to expose your application to outside. Web engine. Okay. It's not a coding language. It's a tool. It's a package.
Okay. I got that point. Only I have a query like, what are the placements, like how it will be placed on? That is
Oh, you
actually.
clarified, right? Here, yeah, in this layer, we'll take the Nginx image. We'll do the necessary changes. Here, pod get created. So when you open it, you inside it, you can see the Nginx package installed, plus your source code also will be available. Front-end source code also will be available. Okay.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Hari, sorry, I take you another 5 minutes. I have shared one image in the WhatsApp group. So this is the scenario I just wanted to understand, like in the interview, how can you give some tips on that particular image that would be good for my next interview?
Sure. Which group you forwarded actually?
In the same group today, you just send the link.
Oh, the alumni group. Okay.
Yes.
Because I sent it to 2-3 groups. Anyway, this is the one DevOps technical area. This is assessment evaluate candidate expertise in DevOps tools and application to real-time challenge designed to be used for interactive session with the technical seminar. During the assessment, candidate will tackle a hands-on problem tailored to the core principle of DevOps. Their solution will be first verified by the battery of automated test case to ensure it meets the functional requirement as well as the industry standard. Then our experienced interviewer stepped into assess overall efficiency. Okay. Assessment outline. Deploy a microservice application. This challenge is to design a comprehensive evaluated DevOps engineer by simulating real-world scenario. Candidate has tasked with deploying microservice-based application composed to 2 services. Each its separate folder, clear installation and run instruction. They must be Dockerized the service, set up the container orchestration platform, establish the CI/CD platform, automated. See, this particular, where you got this requirement, which interview?
Actually, one of the interview I already I have actually from the next week only. So they send me this the assessment outlet.
Okay. See, what you need to do, right? You need to create one GitHub folder. Okay, GitHub repository.
Okay.
In that, create one folder. They are asking you to know. They are simply telling interview overview. The interview expectation is you need to perform this change. You need to put it in the GitHub repo. Share the URL to them. First, automation will validate your script and do everything. If that is filtered right, if we say okay, thumbs up to your script, then one expert interviewer will assist your code and your setup. And obviously they'll ask more question about the setup. Okay, this requirement, the 2-3 lines they are given, right? See, this challenge is designed to comprehensively evaluate DevOps engineer and simulating real world scenario. It is for your it is going to be Mohammed Rathod. You are
Yes.
they are going to validate your DevOps skill only. Okay, you are tasked, candidate Mohammed, you are tasked to deploying microservice based application composed of 2 services, front and back end. Okay, each its own separate folder, clear installation and instruction. For this source code, you can feel free to take it from ChatGPT, no problem. Try to take it. If you have any struggle, I'll help you, no problem. Okay, you must be Dockerized, which means you need to create a Docker image. You need to put it in the ECR. Set up the container orchestration platform, which means what? Orchestration. Kubernetes is the container orchestration platform. They are indirectly telling you to put it in the Kubernetes.
Yes.
You need to do this process throughout continuous establish CI/CD. People won't believe, okay, around 30 members are part of the session. This requirement I got right now, Mohammed Rathod is sharing in the group, right? Exactly this one only. Okay, not even 0.1% change. Only they are given this quad quality. SonarQube as optional. Rest all has to be exactly this one only. Okay. So, but for you, right, what you need to do, you need to create a folder, okay, in the GitHub. Make things something like first folder for what you need to do. You create a Jenkins CI/CD Groovy file. Okay, first file.
Okay.
Second folder going to be application. So maybe I'll explain you in this way. You know about creating GitHub things and all, right? Repository. In the GitHub repo, right?
Yes.
New folder. Okay, just I'll give short name. Mohammed interview. Here, imagine this is a repo. What you need to do, very first folder going to be, very first file going to be Jenkins pipeline. Okay. Groovy. Here your pipeline Groovy should be there. Okay. Next folder will be application. Just imagine ecom application. Okay. Here, create a subfolder. Okay. Okay. What you need to do here, you need to create one new folder source. Your code should be there. Okay. And new folder. Okay, like that. Then what you need to do? Okay, Terraform, infrastructure as a code. Okay. Oh, once again, Docker. One small change. Docker has to be here. Then Kubernetes. Okay. Apply my.yaml file. Yeah, done. So you have to be providing a coding structure like that only, bro. Okay. So your Docker file for creating a container image. Okay. E-commerce application. Your application source code, what you are going to get it from the ChatGPT is this one only. Backend code, frontend code, unit test case. It will give you as a package. Then for deploying Kubernetes, right, you need to provide deployment.yaml, services.yaml. And here you need to mention your Terraform code. Okay.
Understood.
Infra or main dot. Okay. This code will ensure your, resource get deployed. Jenkins pipeline Groovy will deploy your pipeline. So finally, this has to be your GitHub repo. This repo only you have to share it to your interviewer. Your automation will scan the entire from here to here. It will scan. Okay. Here it will scan. If automation says okay, then you can proceed further with that. This is how your folder structure should be for this requirement. Okay.
Thank you, Hari. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Yeah. Wish you all the best for your interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. So, yes, guys, with that note, I'm closing. So, thank you for your time. We'll meet you by next week. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.